The beginning of the breaking of friendships. I saw a certain man whose name I forget at the funeral in KZN the other day. He said, "You know, he was my comrade. He gave me money to get to Swaziland. I don't know what went wrong." I forget his name, but it's not important. Because what this work did, the abalone got out, we understood how drugs got in, we understood how counterfeit got in, and we needed to get better at that. Ivan and van Locherenberg and those people then said, what we need is to deal with this problem. Because it also pointed to other things. It pointed to counterfeit and money laundering. It pointed to all manner of issues, and what PG led an understanding of is we must be able to triangulate information. If we understand what happens to the money, who's bought what car with what resources, who's purchased property with what resources, what are the bank accounts showing, if you have that kind of information, then you can deal with a tax system that is perceived to be fair, and that quality of leadership is something that we need to take very seriously. And was that curiosity that gave rise to special investigations. But as special investigations proceeded, it brought SARS in direct conflict with the criminal networks. And the criminal networks then needed to do other things, including fake intelligence. And so the idea of a rogue intelligence unit was born. But what they described as a rogue intelligence unit was merely SARS extending its work and saying, if we want people to pay tax, there must be a sense of fairness about taxation. And that, in many ways, was the beginning of the onslaught against PRAVIN. The beginning of the endeavor to dismantle the revenue service. The beginning of the breaking of friendships. I saw a certain man whose name I forget at the funeral in KZN the other day. He said, "You know, he was my comrade. He gave me money to get to Swaziland. I don't know what went wrong." I forget his name, but it's not important. Because what this work did was to set up what I can only describe as a clash of civilizations. It was such a strong clash of values. Values between theft and democracy. Value about benefit for some and democracy for all, that created all the difficulty that PRAVIN, Vani, Anisha and Priyesha and the extended family lived through. But that was the issue. Fundamentally important, and PRAVIN didn't ever equivocate on these issues. He set out saying, let's join the dots as we are doing this morning. We can join the dots and see what the issues were. That quote that I read from Gramsci ends with, whatever the situation, I imagine the worst that could happen in order to summon up all my reserves and willpower to overcome every obstacle. Summon up all my reserves and willpower to overcome every obstacle. And that is the story of a life. The life of a commissioner and a minister, but more importantly, the life of an activist whose commitment to democracy didn't ever waver. And so my plea this morning is that in PG's honor, that SARS must be rebuilt to the level it had attained under his leadership, rebuild with vigor and determination. It's never too late to envision and create the democracy that was dreamed of.